Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the cause of heart disease. If you want to know more about what is heart disease, you can watch the previous video in this playlist. Whenever heart disease is discussed, cholesterol is always brought up. One of the first cholesterol research was done by a Russian pathologist, Nikolai Anishkov, 100 years ago when he fed a high cholesterol diet to rabbits and observed that the rabbits developed atherosclerosis, which is a disease in which plaque builds up in your arteries as explained in the previous video. The research has demonstrated that there is a link between blood cholesterol level and atherosclerosis. This has led to the development of the lipid hypothesis, and most modern research supports this hypothesis. It is important to note that atherosclerosis affects only herbivores. Dogs, cats, tigers and lions can be saturated with fats and cholesterol, and atherosclerotic plaque do not develop. That is why you do not see a lion with a heart attack. So, are humans herbivores, carnivores or omnivores? Although most humans conduct their life as omnivores, in that we eat flesh as well as vegetables and fruits, humans have characteristics of herbivores, not carnivores. The appendages of carnivores are claws for hunting. Those of herbivores are hands and hooves. The teeth of carnivores are sharp to tear through raw flesh. Those of herbivores are mainly flat for grinding. The intestinal tract of carnivores is short, so rapidly decaying meat can pass out of their body quickly. That of a herbivore is long, because plant foods decay slowly so that they can take their time to pass through their body. Body cooling of carnivores is done by panting, herbivores by sweating. Carnivores drink fluid by lapping, herbivores by sipping. Carnivores produce their own vitamin C, whereas herbivores obtain it from their diet. Thus, humans have characteristics of herbivores, not carnivores. Even the editor-in-chief of the American College of Cardiology, Dr. C. William, recognized the fact and even states that cholesterol is the only factor of atherosclerosis, and all other factors are contributory at best. This means you can be an inactive overweight smoker and you have zero risk of atherosclerosis if you do not have elevated blood cholesterol levels, as there is no risk factor to form plaque in the artery. There is a very good reason why the best heart disease experts in the world, like Editor-in-Chief of the American College of Cardiology, Dr. William C. Robert, President of the American College of Cardiology, Dr. Kim A. William, heart disease expert Dr. Cadwell Esselstyn, just to name a few, believe that cholesterol is responsible for atherosclerosis, and that is because the vast majority of research supports that fact. So what increases our blood cholesterol? Well, they are trans fat from processed food, meat and dairy, saturated fat from mainly animal products and junk food, and dietary cholesterol from animal foods. The most prestigious scientific body in the United States, the National Academies of Science, conclude that the only safe intake of trans fats is 0 in their report condemning trans fats. They couldn't even assign a tolerable upper daily limit of intake because any incremental increase in trans fatty acid intake increases coronary heart disease risk. There are also labeling regulations that allow foods with trans fat content less than 0.5 grams per serving to be listed as having, you guessed it, 0 grams of trans fat. This labeling is misguiding the public by allowing foods to be labeled as trans fat free when they are in fact not. So to avoid all trans fat, you must avoid meat, dairy and refined oils. So these companies, they have a trick is by lowering the serving size so that each serving size has less than 0.5 grams. Then they can label it as trans fat free. Okay, so you have to watch out. Saturated fats are mostly found in animal products such as dairy, eggs and meat, while dietary cholesterol is found in all foods that come from animal, including red meat, poultry, fish, chicken, eggs, milk, cheese, yogurt, and other dairy products. No food from plants contain cholesterol since plants do not have a liver to produce it. There is also no safe intake of dietary cholesterol, as any increment increases coronary heart disease risk, which underscores the importance of reducing animal product consumption. Our body also naturally produces cholesterol in our liver, so we do not need this extra cholesterol from our diet. That's why we have high cholesterol. There are also hundreds of metabolic ward experiments that conclusively prove without a shadow of a doubt that dietary saturated fat and cholesterol raise your blood cholesterol levels. There is no surprise that vegans and vegetarians have the lowest blood cholesterol levels due to their diets being very low in dietary saturated fats and cholesterol. In fact, vegans have absolutely zero dietary cholesterol because they do not consume eggs and dairy. Now I'm going to explain very briefly how blood cholesterol contributes to atherosclerosis. When you have high cholesterol levels, its particles will damage the endothelial cells lining of your arteries and lodging themselves inside the artery wall, which causes inflammation. To deal with the inflammation, the garbage-eating cells of your immune system will attempt to digest this cholesterol that is stuck. In the end, they become so full of cholesterol, they become sponges, contributing to the plaque buildup. In addition, muscle cells are also drawn to the plaque buildup, and this increases the blockage in the arteries. Now I'm going to show you a more detailed explanation from Vegan Gains.
If your blood cholesterol levels are too high, these LDL particles will damage the endothelial cells lining your arteries and will lodge themselves inside of the arterial wall, causing inflammation. To deal with this inflammation, macrophages, which are essentially the garbage-eating cells of your immune system, will attempt to digest this cholesterol that is stuck inside of your arteries. What ends up happening is these macrophages become engorged with cholesterol and become foam cells, contributing to plaque buildup, and the arterial wall begins to thicken and harden. Smooth muscle cells within the arterial wall are also drawn to the surface of these plaques, creating a tough cellular patch, sort of like a band-aid. These muscle cells are also drawn to cholesterol-laden fatty streaks, which they encase with fibrous plaques, further narrowing the arteries. This narrowing limits blood flow and oxygen traveling to the heart, but in time these plaques can erode and rupture, leading to blood clots that will completely obstruct your arteries, leading to a heart attack, which is how you'll die.
Lastly, the optimal level of LDL cholesterol is 50 to 70 milligrams per deciliter. Those with LDL cholesterol levels in this range have zero risk of atherosclerosis. There is a linear relationship between cholesterol levels above 75 milligrams per deciliter and the progression of atherosclerosis. Fortunately, it is very easy to lower your blood cholesterol levels. Vegetarians put on an omnivore diet have their cholesterol levels rise by 19%, but after only 2 weeks on their back on their vegetarian diet, their cholesterol levels went back down to normal. Heart disease can be reversed. Dr. Cadwell Esselstyn from the Cleveland Clinic has his own published research and has successfully reversed heart disease in his chronically ill patients like former US President Bill Clinton, using a whole food, low-fat, plant-based diet. So if you want to make the right choice now, you might just not die of heart disease. In the next video, I will talk more about how to reverse heart disease with nutrition.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.